Hey guys, so it has been like a year since I have recorded something and put it on, and I'm like staring back and forth. Sorry, I'm like looking at myself, but the camera's over here, so bear with me if through the whole thing I'm looking back and forth. I don't know. But anyways, it's been like a year since I've recorded something, and just with everything that's going on with the coronavirus and the fear, just got myself doing it again. That is going on in everyone's heart. I just think it's something to really talk about and to emphasize. And so something I just want to really emphasize is that fear is normal. Fear, the feeling of fear, we all experience it. And I think for a long time that and this was before the coronavirus, but just things in my personal life is I wanted to not be fearful because I feel like sometimes as Christians, we are told not to be fearful. And so if we are, and immediately, and at least in my head, maybe it's not in yours, but like, it's like that's sinful. And so I think what's really important is asking ourselves, what are we fearful of and why? So I just battling those things and asking yourself throughout this, like I can confidently say that I am not fearful of death, and it's taken me a long time to get there. So like, say I get the coronavirus and happen to die, like, yeah, that sounds kind of crazy, and it could definitely happen. Like, I'm not fearful of that. I'm more fearful of someone else getting it, or honestly, I'm more fearful, like my worries and my concerns are like, how long is this gonna last? Like, until I can go out and I can do things, and looking at that and realizing what's selfish and what's not, and just really looking at like, what am I fearful of and why? I think that is so important to reflect on in this time. So yeah, the biggest thing is like, fear is normal and it is okay, but like, what are we gonna do with that? And so I have been listening to the song Sea of Victory by Elevation Church. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's so good, and it's like the perfect song for right now. There's a lot of good Christian songs right now that I've had like on replay. Waymaker's another one. There's so many, but specifically with Sea of Victory, I have really just tried to focus in on those lyrics. And one that I really love, it says, you take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. And I just love that, because that is so true in everything, in all of life, but specifically with this. Like, you know, I shared on my Instagram at one point that, you know, Satan is using this to isolate us in all these negative things, and not being able to go to church, and it sucks. But then you look at it the perspective of God is giving us time to rest. He is giving us time with family. And in that, there are victories. And so, you know, sometimes I think we think of victory as this big, you know, thing that we have to accomplish. And that can become so overwhelming. At least for me, I like to break things down little by little. And so what I've been trying to find in every single day are little victories, little successes, accomplishments, whatever that may be. It looks different in every single day. I have different victories, whether that's with my job, and sometimes a victory simply in the day is having one of my clients smile, that I know is really struggling, or a victory. A lot of them come from my job, but also like a victory is spending more time with my family. And Sunday, I got to spend 5 hours of time with Jesus. I don't normally get that. I'm busy. My job is busy. I have a lot of things that I have to do, but God has given me so much during this that I see as a victory. And so I'm trying to just come at it with that perspective every day, instead of like, oh no, what don't I have, and what evil is in this world, and how can I overcome that? And we can just consume our minds with, we may have good intentions of like, how can I work through this, but we're so overwhelmed with the big picture that we forget to look at the little things. And so I just encourage you, as you go on, as this continues, because it doesn't seem like it's going to be a quick fix, unfortunately, which we all want, to look for the small victories in every single day, whatever that may look like. That's going to look so different in your life than it does in mine. But then also bringing it back to Jesus and thanking him for those things, and bringing things to him and laying them at his feet and just saying, Lord, here is my day. Here's what I struggle with. Here are my victories. Thank you for those. I have just found myself in awe of who he is. And even though this sucks, like, I am so confident and I have so much peace that I really, truly can't explain. And I just really think it comes into me leaning into Jesus and having conversations and spending time in his word, starting my day. I start my day watching some sort of sermon, listening to Christian music. I try to end my day in prayer and just be intentional about that. And there are times when I go to bed and I'm so tired that I don't, or where I watch Netflix and I forget to. Like, don't hear me say that I've got it all down, because I'm far from it. But I've really just tried to lean in to Jesus and be real and vulnerable with him. And he already knows our hearts. He knows what's heavy on our hearts. He knows what we're fearful of, what we struggle with. But in this time, God is saying, I'm here. Everything else is taken away. Sometimes people's jobs gone. Family members, some are passing, some are struggling, some are in the hospital right now. What if everything was taken away? We don't want that, and God has given us great gifts, but if it was, what would you have? And I can confidently say that I have my faith, and that's never going to go away. Even if I die, like, I still have it. I get to spend eternity in heaven. And so my focus has been on Jesus and who he is and what he says he is. And so, yeah, I'm kind of rambling on now. That usually happens at about minute 7. I get excited, but then I say the same things over and over again. So, the last thing I want to leave with you is, I did mention, looking at the small victories in each day, but I think something that also is important to remember is the big victory, and what that is, and that is Jesus overcoming the world. Easter is on Sunday, and we get to celebrate that, and it's going to look different, and I don't really like different. I never have. I am a very scheduled person, but in this time, I think it's even more, like, we have even more time to celebrate what Jesus has done and the big victory, and that is he's overcome everything. He has overcome the whole world. He has overcome the coronavirus. He has overcome everything, and in that, let's celebrate him. And so Sunday, I don't know what, if you've been watching sermons, if you haven't, but take some time, whether that's 5 minutes of reading the Bible or 5 minutes of listening to a song, watching a sermon, tuning in with your church, whatever it is. And if you don't know, you don't have any ways, ask me. I would love to share ways that I've been able to just pour in and pour myself into Jesus and who he is. So the big victory is that Jesus has overcome everything. So I don't know, I hope this encouraged you to understand that the fear you're feeling is okay and it's normal, but we have a God that is so much greater than those fearful emotions that you have. So take it to Jesus, and I'm praying for you. I am praying for this world, and I hope that this soon will be over and this too soon shall pass, but in it and right now, lean into Jesus more than you ever have.